Today I have a juicy story for you. It's about how a loner, pathetic loser boy and a popular girl ended up spending a few nights together. No, not like that, you pervs. It's a wholesome story, I swear. But it's also full of drama, romance, and comedy. So grab your popcorn and get ready to be entertained. Amin was walking home in the rain when he saw Maharu, the school's most popular girl, sitting on a swing like a sad puppy. He felt a pang of pity and decided to break the ice by offering her his umbrella. She looked at him like he was crazy and said she was fine, but he was persistent. He shoved the umbrella into her hands and bolted before she could say thanks. Little did he know that this simple act of kindness would change his life forever. The next day, Amin woke up feeling like death. He dragged himself to school and told his buddy Itsuki that he gave his umbrella to a mystery girl. Itsuki was intrigued, but Amin changed the subject. He spotted Maharu in the hallway, surrounded by her admirers. She was smart, kind, beautiful, and basically perfect. Amin said he wasn't interested in her, or any girl for that matter. He sneezed into his sleeve and said dating was too much hassle. After school, Amin took the elevator to his apartment and found Maharu waiting for him. She had his umbrella and wanted to return it. Amin was shocked and tried to act cool, but he was feeling dizzy from his fever. Maharu noticed and said she would take care of him. She followed him inside and gasped at the sight of his filthy place. She said she would be right back and ran off to get some cleaning supplies. Amin stripped off his wet clothes and collapsed on his bed. That night, Amin woke up to see Maharu sitting next to him. She had made him some porridge and told him to eat up. Amin thanked her and asked if she would feed him. She rolled her eyes and said no way, that was too cringe. He ate the porridge and said it was amazing. She blushed and said it was nothing special. Anyone could make it. But Amin thought she was special, even if he didn't admit it yet. Amin finished his porridge and asked Maharu what she was doing on the swing in the rain. He guessed she had a fight with her boyfriend, but she snapped that she didn't have one. She said she just needed to chill for a bit. She also said sorry for making him sick, but he shrugged it off and said he had fun hanging out with her, no cap. He then realized that they would go back to being strangers tomorrow. The next day, nothing changed between Maharu and Amin at school. They lived their own lives. But that night, Amin was eating a jelly snack on his balcony when Maharu saw him. She decided to give him some of her leftover food. Amin gave back the empty box to Maharu, who said she would keep feeding him every night from now on. One day at school, Amin asked Itsuki if he looked like a zombie, and Itsuki joked that he did. But he also said that Amin seemed more lively lately. Later that day, Amin bumped into Maharu at the supermarket. They chatted for a bit and then Amin offered to carry her groceries home for her. The day after that, Maharu came to Amin's place, who was cleaning his apartment and almost fell over when he opened the door. Maharu decided to help him tidy up his mess. They worked together until they were done, and then Amin suggested they order a pizza. When it arrived, Maharu confessed that it was her first time having pizza delivery because she used to have a chef make her meals at home. As they ate the pizza, they talked about Maharu's fake persona at school. Before Maharu left, Amin asked why she kept giving him her food every night, and she said it was for her own satisfaction. And that's how they started their weird relationship. Amin saw Maharu at the park, looking sad. She said she tried to save a cat from a tree, but hurt her ankle. Amin went to get some bandages and wrapped her ankle. He also gave her his sweater to cover her up, and then piggybacked her home. The next day at school, Itsuki said it was weird that Amin wore shorts for PE, but Amin ignored him. They saw Yuta, the prince, getting fawned over by the girls, and Amin said he hated the stupid nicknames. He saw Maharu nearby. That night, Maharu gave back Amin's sweater and another food box. They talked about Yuta and how popular he and Maharu were. They also talked about the food Maharu made. Amin said he wanted to try it fresh someday. Maharu said she would cook for him if he split the cost, and Amin agreed. The next day, Maharu cooked a meal for Amin in his apartment, and they ate it together. It was delicious. Then Amin washed the dishes and Maharu dried them. Maharu said she would cook for him every day, and Amin said yes, but blushed. At school, Itsuki told Amin he should get a girlfriend, but Amin said no thanks. Then Itsuki's girlfriend Chitos came and got her head rubbed by him. She said she wanted Amin to have a girlfriend too, so they could be friends. But Amin didn't want that, because Chitos was too clingy. Amin was doing the dishes in his apartment while Maharu was studying math. She said she had to ace her tests, but didn't say why. She left, but dropped her ID card. Amin gave it back to her, but saw that her birthday was soon. Another day, Amin asked Maharu what she wanted, and she said a sharpening stone. At school, Amen asked Itsuki for gift ideas for a girl, and he said hand cream. After school, Chitos said candy or a stuffed animal. Amen felt weird buying a stuffed animal, so he asked Chitos to help him. She said yes, but he had to buy her a crepe. Later, Maharu was reading on Amen's couch when he gave her a bag with hand cream and a teddy bear for her birthday. She was mad that he snooped on her ID card, but she loved the teddy bear. Amen's mom, Shihoko, showed up at his apartment and barged in. She saw how clean and glowy he was and got suspicious. Amen had hidden Maharu in his room and wanted to get rid of his mom, but she saw 2 sets of dishes and went to his room. She pushed past Amen and found Maharu. She assumed she was Amen's lover and asked her name. Maharu said hi and Shihoko said hi back. She said they were dating or close to it. Maharu said she just cooked for Amen, but Shihoko thanked her for being there for him. Amen said his mom was stubborn like that. Then Shihoko got the whole story from Amen and Maharu. She learned they were neighbors and said it was destiny. She also spilled some tea about Amen. Amen was annoyed and told his mom to leave. She agreed, but not before getting Maharu's number. After Shihoko left, Amen said sorry for his mom's antics, but Maharu said it was fine and she liked her. Amen dissed his mom, but Maharu praised her. She said Shihoko called her by her first name, which her parents never did. They then decided to call each other by their first names too, and maybe in public someday. Maharu tried to give back Amen's spare key, but he said she could keep it longer. They argued a bit over the key, but Maharu agreed to hold on to it. The next day at school, Amen ranked 21st on the test, while Maharu ranked 1st. He thought he should celebrate, so he bought her a strawberry cake. They ate some of the cake, and Maharu fed Amen a bite. He did the same for her. Amen went to buy food to learn how to cook. He met Maharu at the elevator. She found out he wanted to cook and said she would help him. She watched him make an omelet and veggies, but he sucked at it. She tasted his omelet and said it was bland and eggy. She made him a better omelet and told him to do better next time. At school, Chitos wanted Amen to have a pizza party at his place, but he said no. Chitos asked if he had a girlfriend, because he bought the stuffed animal. Amen said it was for his neighbor, who helped him sometimes. Chitos persuaded Amen to agree and said it would be on Christmas Eve. Later, Amen asked Maharu what she was doing on Christmas Eve, and she said nothing. He said he was having a party with Itsuki and Chitos. Maharu said she wouldn't bother them and said she was fine alone. Amen felt bad and offered to spend Christmas with her. Maharu said yes, but they had to play video games. Chitos and Itsuki had a pizza party at Amen's place on Christmas Eve. It started snowing, and they went to the balcony. They were shocked that Maharu lived next door. Amen and his friends were chilling at Amen's place. They talked about how Maharu the angel was Amen's neighbor. Itsuki said he didn't get how Amen didn't catch feelings for Maharu. She was like his perfect girlfriend. Maharu and Amen said that was cap. Amen asked Itsuki and Chitos to keep their secret, and they said okay. Chitos then gushed over Maharu and got too close to her. Amen told her to back off. Chitos said sorry and asked Maharu to be her friend. Maharu said yes, and Chitos introduced herself and Itsuki. They talked about Maharu's cooking skills, which Chitos also liked. Later, Amen said sorry to Maharu for the drama, but she said it was no biggie. She went to get some beef stew she made and said they would have it with rice for lunch tomorrow. They ate the stew together and it was yummy. Amen washed the dishes and asked Maharu how she learned to cook so well. She said her caretaker taught her and told her to cook for the man who made her happy. She also said she wasn't as good as her teacher. They had a cute moment and then planned to meet again tomorrow for lunch and games. The next day, after lunch, Maharu played a game where she died a lot. Amen helped her, but he touched her too much and freaked out. He said sorry, but Maharu didn't mind. Later, Maharu played a racing game and leaned with every turn. She fell into Amen's lap and got embarrassed. Amen acted like it was nothing, but he liked it. That night, Maharu won the racing game. Amen was proud of her and gave her a Christmas gift. It was a key case for his spare key. Maharu liked it and said his mom sent her an old pic of him looking fresh. They had a moment and then Maharu gave Amen a black scarf. They got flirty and then Maharu went to the balcony and got cold. Amen wrapped her in his jacket and they cuddled there. The next day, Maharu looked sick and Amen said she had a cold, but she said no. He made her take her temp and she had a fever. He told her to rest in his bed until she got better and she did. The day after, Amen checked on Maharu, who said she was still tired but better. He decided to stay and chat with her until she fell asleep. When she did, he said she was not good for his heart. It was New Year's, and Amen and Maharu watched the monks ring the bell on TV. They texted some people, and Amin's dad asked if he and his mom could visit soon. Amin said yes, and then saw Maharu sleeping on his shoulder. He guessed she was tired from making their dinner. He tried to wake her up, but she was out. He let her sleep in his bed and he slept on his couch. The next day, Amin saw Maharu still sleeping, so he woke her up. She asked him if he liked touching her cheeks when she slept, and he got flustered. Later, Amin's mom Shihoko and dad Shoutout came to his place. Shihoko hugged Maharu, and Shoutout said hi and thanked her for looking after his son. They all sat together, and Shihoko asked if they had gone to the shrine yet. Amin said no, and Shihoko said good, because she had a kimono for Maharu. Amin didn't want to go to the shrine with Maharu, because he was afraid of being seen by his classmates. But Shihoko made him go, and he gave in. Shoutout put on a suit and told Amin he looked good. He asked him if he was happy he moved there. Amin remembered his bad days in middle school and said yes. Shoutout was happy for him. Shihoko showed Maharu in a kimono, and Amin was amazed by her. Shihoko and Shoutout got the car ready, and Amin and Maharu talked about how they looked in their outfits. Amin and Maharu went to the temple and turned heads with their outfits. They prayed at the temple, and Amin asked Maharu what she wished for. She said health, safety, and more chill days like these. Later, Maharu shared her soup with Amin, and he shared his drink with her. They had a funny moment, and Amin told her about Chido stealing his soda while Itsuki watched. That night, Amin and Maharu said goodnight and thought about how nice it was to have dinner with his parents. They got awkward when Amin patted Maharu's head, and she stopped him. She ran to her place and called him a dummy. The next day, Amin and Maharu said bye to his parents, and he said he would visit them in the summer. He knew they wanted him to bring Maharu too. They went back to his place, and Maharu talked to Amin about his self-esteem. There was a rumor at school that Maharu had a boyfriend after someone saw her with a hot guy at the temple. Itsuki figured out it was Amin, and he was annoyed. They talked about the rumor at Amin's place, and he said he didn't like being called her boyfriend by someone like her. But Maharu said he was wrong. She told him he had good qualities and made her happy. He got red and said he would do the dishes, and she said okay. He washed the dishes, and she hid her face with a pillow. He wondered why she was so shy after saying nice things. Shidos came to Amin's place to ask for tips on Valentine's Day. She wanted to give Itsuki some chocolates, like she did in middle school, but make it more awesome this time. Amin was awkward and cringe, because Maharu was there too. Shidos asked Amin what kind of chocolate he liked, because she planned to give him some too. He said semi-sweet. Shidos was happy and asked Maharu if she would give any chocolate to anyone on Valentine's Day. She said only to her girl squad in her class. She also said Chidos would get some too, and Chidos was hype. The next day at school, Yuyuta, the first-year heartthrob, got tons of chocolates from the girls, and the boys were jelly. Amin and Itsuki talked about how many chocolates Yuyuta got and how Chidos made some Russian roulette chocolates for Itsuki. Itsuki also asked if Maharu made any chocolates for Amin, but he said no. Later, Chidos gave her chocolates to Amin and said they were Russian roulette too. Amin gave Yuyuta his extra bag to help him carry his chocolates home. A few days later, Amin tried one of the chocolates and got a spicy one. Maharu gave him some hot cocoa to wash it down, and Amin asked if she made it for Valentine's Day. Maharu said kind of, and Amin thanked her. She got red and left, but she left a bag on his door with a note. The bag had orangettes that Maharu made for him, because they matched his chocolate taste. The next day at school, Yuyuta thanked Amin for giving him his bag, and the girls were shook. Amin was then joined by Itsuki, and they talked about Yuyuta talking to Amin and then about Itsuki marrying Chidos someday. Itsuki then said if Amin would propose to Maharu one day, but he said no way, that would never happen. Amin came home and saw Maharu sitting on the couch with a pillow. He thanked her for the chocolates she gave him. They talked about how they were grateful for each other's help. Maharu got mad about Amin's birthday because he didn't tell her, but Amin said she didn't tell him hers either. She got flustered and said she would celebrate his birthday with him this year. For White Day, Amin cleaned up his look and gave Maharu a flower bracelet and a do whatever you want ticket. Maharu asked him to put the bracelet on her wrist, and he did. Later, Amin told Itsuki about his White Day with Maharu at a diner. Itsuki said Amin was catching feelings for Maharu. Then, Amin went back to his place, where Maharu greeted him. She looked like a housewife to him. She found out he was eating fries with Itsuki, and she said that was bad for his appetite and weight. But then she said he was too skinny anyway, so it didn't matter. Amin said she could use some more curves too, but he touched her and she didn't like that. She said she only hated other boys touching her. He saw she wasn't wearing the bracelet he got her, and she said it was annoying when she did chores. She said she would wear it when she had time. They kept talking, and Amain went to his room to change. He thought Maharu was really like a housewife. At school, Itsuki asked Amain to crash at his place for a few days because he had a fight with his dad about Chitos. Amain said yes, but he had to tell Maharu first. After school, Maharu said hi to Itsuki and then made dinner for them. Before bed, Itsuki said Amain was nice to Maharu and wondered if he liked her. He also said everyone at school thought Amain was a loner nerd, which Amain agreed with. Itsuki said Maharu really respected him though. The next day, Chitos found out that Itsuki stayed at Amain's place and ate Maharu's food. She decided to stay at Maharu's place for the night. Amain didn't like it, but Maharu said it was fine. Amain asked what they were having for lunch, and Maharu said rice because Chitos wanted it. They ate lunch, and they all loved Maharu's cooking. But the mood got tense when Chitos said Maharu was uptight. She said she always looked bored or snooty at school. She also said she was distant with the other students, but she was glad to see her cute and innocent side. The mood got tense again when Chitos said Maharu could tame Amain with her sweetness, but Maharu said she wouldn't do that. Chitos took a picture of Maharu holding the teddy bear in her PJs that night and sent it to Itsuki. Amain saw it and got red. Itsuki took a picture of Amain and sent it to Chitos. The next day, Itsuki and Chitos left because Itsuki decided to stay at Chitos's for the rest of his visit. Amain and Maharu talked about the picture of Maharu that Chitos sent to Amain. It was innocent at first, but then it got awkward when Maharu thought she sounded childish talking about how she loved her teddy bear. Maharu got a text from someone, but she didn't say who. Amain got to his apartment and heard Maharu and a woman arguing. The woman dissed her for being like some guy. Amain went to Maharu and found out the woman was her mom. Maharu wanted to go to her place, but Amain said she should stay with him. At his place, Maharu said her parents didn't love each other, but married for business. They didn't want kids, but she was born. They only gave her money, not love. Her housekeeper raised her, but her parents never cared about her achievements. She thought she was dumb and they would cut her off after college. She said her mom told her she was unwanted, and Amain hugged her. Later, Maharu said how different she was from her school image. Amain said he knew that, and he wasn't always nice either, but he still wanted to protect her. His words made Maharu cry, and she asked him to look at her and hold her. He did. Then, Maharu and Amain went for a walk and talked about the new term at school. Maharu was hyped about the new classes, but Amain said she just wanted to be with Chitos. Maharu hugged Amain from behind and thanked him again for everything. He said it was no biggie. They talked about how spring and cherry blossoms made Maharu feel lonely. The new classes for second year were out and Amain was in class 2 with Itsuki, Chitos, Maharu, and Yuuta. Yuuta talked to him and made him remember something bad, but he said he was fine. At his place, Maharu asked if he was okay because he looked sad. He said it was nothing, but he was shocked when she said his hair looked soft. He let her touch his hair, but he got shy when she asked him to lie on her lap. She played with his hair and said she didn't like him being quiet. She said Chitos told her it helped men relax. They talked about their new class and how they should act like strangers in school. Amain got sleepy and Maharu told him to nap on her lap. He did for an hour. Amain went to the arcade the next day and came back with a bag of trophies. They were stuffed animals that he won. He showed them to Maharu after they ate, and she liked the bunny. She wanted to thank him for the bunny, so she let him ask for something. He asked for some pudding with lots of eggs. The next day, Maharu bought eggs and made the pudding for Amain. He said it was yummy. He also said she could make anything, and she praised her teacher. But Amain said he felt lame saying her food was delicious all the time, even though she didn't mind. He felt bad about it. Maharu tried to clean up for him, but he said he would do it. She got red and went to the couch. Amain didn't get why. The next day at school, Yuuta invited Itsuki and Amain to have lunch with him, and they said yes. Itsuki said Yuuta was nice to Amain, and Yuuta said he liked Amain and wanted to be his friend. Amain said there was no point in being friends, but Yuuta didn't care. Amain saw Maharu giving him a dirty look as she sat with Chitos. Later, at Amain's place, Maharu was on the couch with a pout. He asked her what he did wrong. She said nothing and said she was being petty. She said she should say sorry for being petty, not him. She said she was jealous of him hanging out with Itsuki, Yuuta, and Chitos at school. But Amain said it would be weird if she did, because he was a lame nobody. Maharu got mad at him for being so negative and said she wished he had more self-love. The next day, Maharu teamed up with Chitos, Itsuki, and Amain for a cooking project. The next day, they made miso soup with green onions and scrambled eggs. When Maharu went to get some salad, Amain saved her from getting burned by hot soup. He yelled at the guy who spilled the soup and made him say sorry. Amain acted like it was nothing, but Maharu thanked him anyway. That night at his place, Maharu and Amane talked about how Maharu tried to get closer to him at school. Amane said Golden Week was coming up. Maharu used her do anything you want ticket and asked him to spend a day with her. She wanted to go shopping and hang out with him. He said she didn't need the ticket, he would do it anyway. But she said she wanted to use it, and he said okay. He asked what he had to do and where they would go. She said he had to carry her bags, but she didn't know where yet. She wanted to have fun and let him pick the place. He picked a cat cafe. She agreed with his pick. The last number of your like is who powers you get. Comment who you got. Don't forget to subscribe for more anime recaps.